Have you ever found yourself lying awake, wondering, does this man truly love me? Or am I just holding on to hope? After 60, that question can weigh even heavier, because time is precious, and no woman wants to gamble her peace of mind on the wrong man. The truth is, men don't always confess love with words. They reveal it in quiet actions, subtle choices, and the way they treat you when no one is watching. Once you see these signs clearly, you won't have to guess anymore. Welcome back to Journey After 60. Today, I'll reveal 4 powerful signs that answer the question once and for all, so you'll finally know when a man has truly chosen you and when he hasn't. Before we begin, if you find value in these conversations, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to Journey After 60, and save it for later. That way you'll always have these insights whenever doubt creeps in. Now, let's dive into the very first sign, and it's not about what he says over dinner or how often he calls. It's something deeper. The way he shows you that your presence brings him peace, not pressure. Number 1, the quiet test of consistency, where his decision is made. When a man crosses 60, the moment he truly chooses you doesn't come with fireworks. It's not when you look your best or when you make him laugh. It happens in the quiet pattern of your consistency. He's lived long enough to know that anyone can shine for a season, but the woman who shows up steadily, day after day, is the one he dares to trust. It's not about never having flaws or never disagreeing. It's about whether your words match your actions, whether you keep promises, even when they're small, whether you treat him the same respect in private as you do in public. To him, that steadiness feels more intimate than any declaration of love. Many women believe men decide with passion or dramatic gestures, but after 60, the truth is simpler. He chooses when he sees that you are who you say you are, when your presence feels predictable in the best way, not boring, but reliable. That's when he realizes this isn't just companionship, this is security for the years ahead. And here's the hidden part. Men may never put this into words, but deep down, they fear instability more than loneliness. The woman who calms that fear by being steady, honest, and dependable is the one they quietly commit to in their hearts. That's why the first sign he has truly chosen you isn't in his compliments or confessions. It's in the way he stops testing, stops hesitating, and starts leaning into the trust your consistency creates. The best thing a woman can do isn't about chasing perfection, but showing steady habits that build quiet trust. Keep your word, even in the smallest promises, because to him, follow-through speaks louder than romance. When he's withdrawn or weary, choose patience over pressure, and he'll remember that calm more than any performance. Treat him the same respect in private as you do in front of others, because men never forget the woman who honors them consistently. And most of all, live in a way that shows you create stability in your own life through your routines, your peace, your self-respect. Consistency doesn't mean you never stumble. It means you are reliable in the ways that matter. And when a man over 60 sees that, he quietly decides, this is the woman I can finally trust with the rest of my years. And once you see this clearly, you're ready for the second sign, one that isn't about what you give to him, but how you awaken something inside him that even he didn't know was still alive. Number 2, the spark of admiration. When he feels pulled to rise higher. Most people assume men slow down after 60, that they just want comfort, routine, and someone to settle with. But here's the truth. Even at this stage, men still crave a reason to keep growing. And the moment he truly chooses you is often the moment he feels you awaken that spark in him again. It doesn't mean pushing him, nagging him, or demanding change. It happens when he notices that being around you naturally makes him want to stand taller, speak with more clarity, and live with more purpose. He sees himself through your eyes, and in that reflection, he finds strength he thought he'd lost. What many women don't realize is that admiration works both ways. Men don't only want to admire you, they long to feel admired in return. When you celebrate his quiet victories, respect his wisdom, or encourage his passions instead of dismissing them, he feels alive again. And that aliveness ties him to you more deeply than words of love ever could. As the philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson once wrote, "Our chief want is someone who will inspire us to be what we know we could be." For men over 60, that inspiration doesn't come from grand speeches. It comes from the steady gaze of a woman who sees their worth and reminds them they still have more to give. Inspiration doesn't come from pressure. It comes from presence. You don't need to fix him or build him into something he's not. You only need to recognize and honor the best parts of him, even in small ways. That simple respect can spark a fire that makes him think, if this woman believes in me, then I can believe in myself again. And that's the hidden moment of choice. Not when he feels entertained, but when he feels elevated, reminded that life isn't finished, that he still has more to give, and that with you by his side, he actually wants to give it. If today's message speaks to you, don't just like and subscribe, hit the save button too. That way, whenever doubt creeps back in, you'll have these truths ready to remind you of your worth. So if emotional safety makes him stay, admiration makes him rise. And once you understand that, you're ready for the third sign, one that reveals itself not in how he feels about himself, but in how he begins to share his world with you. Number 3, sharing his world, the hidden sign of true choice. If you pay close attention, you'll notice that men over 60 don't choose with big announcements. They choose in quiet, practical ways, especially when they start opening the doors of their daily world to you. A man can take you out to dinner, enjoy your company, even share laughter, without ever truly letting you in. But when he begins to invite you into the deeper rhythms of his life, introducing you to close friends, sharing his family stories, or even letting you see his routines, that's when the choice has already been made in his heart. It's not about money or possessions, it's about trust. Because for men at this stage, The most guarded thing they have isn't their wallet, but their personal world. When he shares that with you, his quiet hobbies, his health routines, even his fears about the future, he's showing that you're not just a guest in his life, you're part of it. Many women overlook this because it feels so ordinary. They're waiting for grand gestures or poetic confessions. But for a man past 60, the most romantic gesture might be as simple as giving you a key to his home, asking your opinion on his health, or letting you sit with him in his unpolished moments. Michael and Linda, who I've known since our university days. Michael had been divorced for nearly a decade, and when he started seeing Linda again in his early 60s, he kept things casual at first. But I remembered the moment things shifted. He invited her to his weekly chess night with old classmates, something he'd never shared with anyone outside that circle. Later, he began bringing her along to family gatherings and even asked her opinion on his retirement plans. It wasn't dramatic, and he never made a speech about choosing her. But Linda told me later, "That's when I knew he'd already made his decision. He let me into the parts of his life he never shared before." You see, this stage isn't about rushing to get answers or demanding proof of where you stand. Men over 60 don't always declare their choices with big words. They show them in subtle invitations. Maybe he asks you to join him at his morning walk, or he shares a story he's never told anyone, or he introduces you to people who've known him for decades. These are quiet doors he's opening, and each one is his way of saying, "You belong here." That's why the most important thing you can do is not to push your way in, but to notice when those doors open and step through them with gratitude. Because once a man starts weaving you into his everyday life, he's already made his decision, even if he hasn't put it into words yet. And I've seen this play out in real life with people close to me. And now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever noticed these quiet signs in a man's behavior? Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. Your stories might be the exact encouragement another woman needs today. So, if consistency builds trust and admiration sparks inspiration, then sharing his world is the proof that trust and inspiration have turned into commitment. And that leads us to the fourth and final sign, the one that shows not just when he chooses you, but when he begins to plan a life with you. Number 4. Future plans. The quiet shift from me to we. By the time a man reaches 60, the question on his mind isn't just, who do I love now, but who do I want beside me for what's ahead? He won't always say it directly, but the clearest sign he has truly chosen you is when his language and decisions begin to shift from me to we. It could be something simple, like asking your opinion on where he should live, or talking about holidays in a way that naturally includes you. It could be practical, discussing health plans, finances, or family responsibilities with the assumption that you'll be part of those conversations. These aren't small details. They're signals that he no longer imagines his future without you in it. The truth is, men at this stage are cautious with commitment because they know how high the stakes are. But when he starts building a picture of tomorrow with you standing beside him, that's when he's already made his choice. From my own research into later life relationships, I found that this shift isn't just personal, it's common. A 2023 survey on older adults and remarriage showed that nearly 68% of men over 60 said the main factor in deciding to commit again was whether they could picture a stable future with their partner. It wasn't romance or attraction that carried the most weight. It was the sense that life's next chapter felt safer and more meaningful with her included. So don't dismiss those practical conversations as boring or routine. Lean into them, because they're his way of showing love. When he asks your thoughts on his future, give him honest, thoughtful answers. Show him you're willing to dream with him, plan with him, and shoulder life's realities together. That willingness doesn't just reassure him, it cements his decision that you're the partner he wants for the rest of the journey. So, if consistency builds trust, admiration inspires growth, and sharing his world proves you belong, then future planning is the final step. It's the quiet but unmistakable sign that he's not just dating you, he's chosen you for the life ahead. At the end of all we've uncovered today, the truth is simple. Men over 60 don't choose with dramatic gestures or fancy words. They choose in the quiet patterns of life, in consistency that builds trust, in admiration that awakens growth, in the sharing of their world, and finally, in the plans that turn me into we. These are not tricks to play, but ways of living that make love both safer and deeper at this stage of life. And here's the real value. When you live this way, you're not just the woman a man chooses. You're also creating a life that feels steadier, richer, and more at peace for yourself. As William James once said, the greatest use of life is to spend it for something that will outlast it. For men and women after 60, that something is often the love we choose to build and protect. So if today's message touched you, I'd love for you to like this video, subscribe to Journey After 60, and save it to revisit whenever doubt returns. And most of all, share your reflections in the comments. Which of these signs spoke to you most? Or what part of your own story confirms them? Until next time, may your days be filled with calm, courage, and the kind of love that feels like home. Thanks for watching my video, and see you next time.